G'day buddy, how are you? Where are you from? Hong Kong. Merry Christmas to you all. And these are only the babies. When we get round the corner we start talking telephone numbers. That's where the price is. This is the floating restaurant owned by the American Express Club. It's towed down from Singapore for the Cup. And when the regatta is over, it will be towed over to Sydney for the Olympics. And then it's going to be towed back here for the next America's Cup, right? Of course. Sorry about that. Those of you that don't sound like Kiwis, sorry, but it's coming back here. The American Express restaurant was open to the public up until about a week ago. I myself never went in there. I was going to, and somebody told me that the coffee cost $8 a cup. And I thought, no, I don't need a coffee that bad. The Viking is owned by the American Express Club and is available for charters, but only if you're a car holder. Okay, the vessel's berthed on your right. The fee is $5,000 every 24 hours down here to park your boat on this side. Most of these vessels fly flags of convenience from tax haven ports, which tells you that they are corporate owned. The hardest job we have, and anywhere in the world has, is to find out who actually owns these things. They are very shy people. They do not want you to know who owns them. They are all overseas vessels, with the exception of Hyperion, which is the big white one up here. It was built in New Zealand at a cost of $114 million. Most of the vessels along this side are valued between $90 and $130 million. But just to show you that money is not everything, I've got a little trailer sailor boat. I've got a 7.5 horsepower Evinrude on the back, and it's never let me down yet. Last Saturday morning I was working here when they towed Ubiquitous in from the Rangitoto Island with both their motors blown up. So that, I had a little bit of a chuckle when I saw the tugs pulling her in. Vessels down this end are available for charter, and with the exception of Silver Seas, they are all owned by New Zealanders. Regal Flyer, which is the white one here, is owned by the Corbin Vineyard family. The green one is owned by Air New Zealand. The blue one is owned by Colin Giltrap, who owns Enterprise Cars. The big blue hull boat over here is owned by the DeVos family, who are the co-founders of Amway in America. So there's money in cleaning up muck, yes? The mural you see done up on the side of the Maritime Museum is done by an American artist. His name is Whalen. He also did the graphics on the side of Abracadabra, which is the Hawaiian America's Cup Yacht Challenge boat. I can't tell you anything about Affinity because she's only just arrived. Next to her, it's out today unfortunately, but in this hole in here was a boat called Double Haven, which is owned by the Sultan of Brunei. What the Viaduct Basin was originally built for was to give a home to our fishing fleet, because back in the old days they were sailing boats and they didn't have a port of their own. Up until 1928 this was the local sewer for Auckland, and all the raw sewage was collected at night time in a horse and cart and dumped into the berth, into the harbour here. And in 1928 the Auckland Harbour Board said, well, that's enough of that. We'll stop that, so they did.
No more.
And they decided to turn this into the America's Cup Village. They had to dredge 38,000 truckloads of silt out on the bottom, purely to make it deep enough for these boats to come in. Because before that, at low tide, there was only a couple of feet of water about where we are now. And I am one of many skippers who came in here and put his boat aground. And it's very embarrassing, I tell you. Very embarrassing. We've now got about 12 feet of water underneath us. All the silt that they dug out was so contaminated that the health department said, no, you're not going to dump that on the land. The harbour board said, no, you're not going to put that back in the water. So they built huge big concrete pens and they pumped this stuff into there and then sealed the pens with concrete, just topped them off. And that's what all these multi-billion-dollar apartments are built on top of. So there you go, see? Prada Syndicate over here, leading contender at the moment to become the challenger. Came down in New Zealand with a budget of $130 million to take the cup back to Italy. At the moment, they're at the top of the list. Very fast boat. America One Syndicate, they came down with about $90 million to do the same thing. So on the day of the race, and it was a day much like today, America True rang up the syndicate and rang up the boss and said, no, we're not going racing today, it's too rough. So France went out and sailed the race alone, won it of course, being the only boat out there, and that knocked young America out of it. So there's politics everywhere you go. Nippon Syndicate, two-boat syndicate, doing quite well now, coming along. French syndicate boat there. And Team New Zealand, both boats up there in the sheds for Christmas. The boat you see on the hard is the original Black Magic that won the America's Cup. And they tell me now that design and technology is so far advanced that those other two vessels are at least 1/3 faster than she ever was. Wow. And that's wasn't very long ago that she was the fastest yacht in the water. Now she would be the slowest in this harbour. Liberty, we believe, is owned by the second in command of Microsoft organisation in America, registered to the Caicos Islands. And they tell us that on board her in her main saloon are two hermetically sealed glass display cabinets, one of which contains an original Picasso, the other one contains an original Monet, and they're both insured for $10 million. The vessel itself is estimated to be worth I think it's about $270 something million. But she is literally a floating computer. He can go away in that and conduct Microsoft's business around the world from his boat. And he doesn't even own it, he only works for it. Spanish Syndicate, they're in the Spanish Syndicate are in the process of stripping their boat, getting it ready to go back to Spain on a container. When she's ready to go, she'll be sprayed with a very heavy-duty plastic material and then wrapped in vinyl to protect it, and strapped on the top of a container. Abracadabra from Hawaii. They bought their own chase boat with them from Honolulu. American True Syndicate. Well, that's a local Aukland boat that they've chartered. Up ahead is the Emerald Cave, which is Dennis Connor's corporate boat. And this is his base down here. The other day I came up here and Dennis was cleaning the windows, scrubbing the pontoons, sweeping the floor, doing all the housework. He won't ask anybody to do a job that he's not prepared to do himself, except go swimming, because he can't swim. And he is absolutely petrified of the water. And for that reason, because he genuinely loves New Zealand so much, he has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on training programs teaching the kids of New Zealand how to swim and how to sail. Dennis Connors.